What's up guys, welcome to Sports Talk 101, and in today's video we'll be recapping week 1 games that we had great games, 5 straight days of games starting from Thursday all the way to Monday, because later you didn't actually game, but it was amazing, epic games on Saturday, some upsets, some highlighted, players made some highlights. Really good games, rack matchups, really interesting games, and sometimes it's called blowouts. So I'm gonna go break down hopefully game by game. I'm sort of each day, and each day I'm not gonna go every single team because I want to do that, and it'll be a really long video. It'll be like an hour actually long video, and I don't think you want that. No, neither do I. So let's take a look at games. We'll start with Thursday. We had great games on Thursday. And one of the games that I saw on Thursday that I thought that everybody watched was Utah and Florida. What's up with that game? This was an interesting game, to say the least. Okay. I mean, this was... Let's play Utah. Okay, first of all, Utah played without Cam Rising. Gotta keep in mind. Utah played without Cam Rising and the tight end, and there were some defensive players, good players that's on this team for 2020 season did not play this game. Keep in mind. So there's that. But I was curious to see how Utah would be without. And look, obviously they look great. They look like a great team of, they scored 20, like the one game 24-11, got the revenge from last year. Utah looked really good this weekend. It was a really good game it was a really fun game to watch. Utah was a really good team. They both offensively and defensively were just phenomenal in this game. Let's put it that way. Then you look at the other hand, Florida. Let's look at the defense, Florida defense. And that Florida defense was, they kept fighting, they kept points, okay. But that defense was the story for Florida. I think it was the Florida, if you look at positive Florida that game, the defense. That defense was, they get 24 points, but they were pretty decent in the defense. That was not the best performance by the defense, but they're pretty good at that. But look at the offense. The offense was horrendous, especially because the quarterback had Grandma, who had 33 passing yards. Look at this. 33 passing yards. That's in one game. Grandma was making in his debut for Florida on a building Nipah. Pretty good. Just tell you about Wisconsin now comes to Florida. Obviously Florida was trash the game. So then you have other games in your wake. Elon, they won the game 37-17. Kansas State, UCF. So we got a bunch of other games. The next game we'll talk about, actually 2 games it's late, which also was just a lot of people not care about this game, but it was interesting to see how it goes. But NC State beat UConn 24-14. That was a pretty good game, particularly for NC State. Then the game that everybody was talking, Nebraska and Minnesota. I'm going to start with Nebraska. And Nebraska lost this game. Minnesota beat Nebraska 30-0. 30-10. Nebraska. I have no words to say. That offense was just horrendous. It was horrendous. That game. Jeff Sims looked terrible. Had 90 rushing yards. Okay. And boy, that offense was terrible. That offense of Nebraska was just horrendous. Matt Rule debut. QC said Matt was going to debut. That was not a great debut. They got to figure out something about but right way to match against Colin. They got to figure something out offensively, because this team needs to figure something out offensively. It was just terrible. That is a good defense for Nebraska, and they were pissed off. They managed to hold Minnesota to 13 points. That's impressive for Nebraska defense. And that defense was great. They able to hold 13 points. which is pretty decent, pretty good for Nebraska. Then Minnesota, on the other hand, look, I love PJ Fleck. He's a good coach. I know lots more of him. Lost their quarterback. I think his name is Tim Wilkins no longer there. That team is a solid team. Okay, they're a pretty good team in the Big Ten. Okay, they're not the best. Top 3, which is Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. But they're probably level of not level as maybe Wisconsin, but definitely a level of Maryland. Maybe you could say consider Wisconsin, but the level of Illinois, level of a Maryland team. Maybe something you could consider them as a Wisconsin team, level of Wisconsin. That team was good offensively and defensively were great in that game. Minnesota looked a better team in that game. That's fact. And when I look at these games, I saw from Thursday to Friday, and each day of the week, you could tell, not this matchup, for every matchup you saw this weekend, these 5 days, you could tell who was the better team in this matchup. In this case, Minnesota was. So, sorry. And then you have a bunch of the games that, Missouri is South Dakota, UAPB, I don't know what that is. Looks like you got Tulsa against Tulsa, UAB against North Carolina, AT&T, SSU against ASU, so some other matchups don't make care about. Then you move on to Friday. Friday, you had Howard against EMU, and I watched, this was a close game. I didn't watch this game much, but I watched like second, so like 15 chance I figured out what to watch on Friday, and I was like, okay, I watched maybe 2 minutes of the game, see how, just curious what the game was, because it's ESPN Plus. It was an okay game, not the best game to watch, but I was watching a couple minutes of the game. Then I watched the Michigan State against CMU. They blew out 31-7, pretty good win there for Michigan State. Then the game that we talk about, Miami of Ohio versus Miami of Florida. Who is the better Miami? Looks like Miami of Florida's the real Miami. They beat Miami of Ohio 38-3, and Tyler Van Dyke looked like amazing. That Miami offense was great. Van Dyke had about 201 passing yards. That game was amazing to watch offensively. They were great offensively. Defensively, they were amazing. Matt Chris-Ball, really good job. Jennifer Porter, and great. It showed that Miami team was a big win. Let's see if you can do it in week 2. I'm going to take on A&M. Speaking of A&M, we'll talk about later in this video. And then the second game was actually surprisingly a close game. A matchup a conference matchup between 2 teams who had first-year head coach. You were with Jeff Brown, and I believe Georgia Tech. Now they went hide within the program, and Brian Key, first season head coach there, who was the interim head coach last year, and then became head coach. This was a good game to watch. It was really fun. Between Louisville and Georgia Tech, I could care less who won this game, but Louisville beats Georgia Tech 39-34. Really close game, 5-point game. It was fun to watch this game. This is the most entertaining game to watch. I think of the 3 games that I was thinking about 2 games. Howard in Eastern, because I didn't watch much. I was just curious to see how Eastern was going to do, because, never mind. I was just curious for the channels. And I did watch a little bit of Michigan State, so I watched a little bit Michigan State CMU game. But the main games I watched was Miami, Florida, against Miami High, and obviously Louisville and Georgia Tech. This was a good game between Louisville and Georgia Tech. It was a great conference matchup. Really good game. I think that's the game of that day. Was definitely this matchup. Then you have Missouri State against Kansas, because Kansas beat 48-17, and then Stanford beat Hawaii 37-24. And that wraps up Friday games, and then we'll move on to Saturday. You have great slate of games, and we have amazing games. So we'll start with this game, UT Martin against Georgia, and Georgia beats Martin 48-7. But I got lost in this game. I had the next 2 games. So that's 3 games. Actually 4 games. So that's the Georgia game. They're supposed to do beat your team like FCS team like UT Martin. Cause it back 294 passing yards. Kendrick Minton rushed about 53 yards, and then Brock Bowers, best tight end in all college football. 77 passing yards. Definitely, receiving yards. Definitely a first round pick. Now I didn't watch the game. Now I watched highlights, and boy, the offensive line was. I don't know what was Georgia, but that offensive line was not great. I mean, UT Martin was all over Georgia in the offensive line, the block. It was not looking good. And that's if you're looking at something fixed, that's what got fixed. That defensive line with UT Martin was pushing around Georgia, and it was not a good sight if you're a Georgia fan. I mean, you got the first game of the season, you got to fix that by game 2 when you take out her. Probably didn't play nobody too. Like Michigan who played not nobody. In the first 3 non-con games. Well, technically the first 3 non-con games. It was, boy. I don't know. This game. Sorry, Georgia. You just got to figure out that. And similarly, assistant administration. Now, a good grade. Michigan did not have to deal with this, but their O-line did not look great. And they did beat Eastern Michigan. ECU. Michigan beats ECU 33. Jason McCarthy has 280 passing yards. Blake Cohen was 73 rushing yards, and Wilson was 3 touchdowns and 78 receiving yards. That was a good game. And other opponents that Michigan will face was the 3 non-con games. Really terrible teams. Actually, surprisingly, ECU is the better of them. And so ECU also avoided a shutout. Kicking a field goal last second. Michigan, let's look at the defense. Looked phenomenal. Obviously, Will Johnson was not there the game. Started off the game. And the first game of Jim Harbaugh's suspension, I'm going to give credit to Jesse Mitchell, the defensive coordinator, who's doing a phenomenal job. Did a phenomenal job as acting head coach. And that game was a phenomenal game. I mean, the defense looked phenomenal. The corners were great. It was a really good game defensively for the Wolverines. Offensively, let's talk about the run game. ECU managed to stop the run game for the most part of the game. And Jason McCarthy had to throw the ball, and he was on fire. I mean, that passing game was amazing. Ron Wilson and all the players, that was a great game pass. He had to pass, and that passing game looked really good. But as an offensive line, I am curious, and I'm worried a little bit. But this is something that can be fixed in practice and by the next game. That O-line did not look great. Now, the pass rush looked okay, and the pass block, rush block looked okay. There was some instances with that. This is the first line that won 2 years ago, the Joe Moore Award. That offensive line for Michigan did not look great, but they look not the best. I guess they for Georgia. So then Ohio State takes on Indiana, 23-3, big win there. That offense, also the defense was great that game. That defense for Ohio State was great. Horrendous offense for Ohio State. I mean, Kyle McCoy had 239 passing yards. Stover had 98 receiving yards, and then it was a terrible game, especially if you're Ohio State man. It did not look like an Ohio State offense under Ryan Day, didn't it? This game was just. I watched this game. I was like, thinking to myself, how terrible. This is something Ohio State got fixed. Because that house I saw on Saturday, I didn't know Notre Dame. They won the first, week 1. Also won Big 0, by the way. They beat Tennessee State 56-3. And speaking, let's get to Notre Dame. That was no joke. But that Ohio State game on Saturday did not look good. And they faced Notre Dame in a couple of weeks. Now, that few weeks, they got some time to fix it. But if that team I saw Saturday was to play Notre Dame, I'm picking Notre Dame. That Notre Dame's going to beat the shit out of Ohio State. That Ohio State game did not look the best I know. And that did not look good on Saturday. It did not. It was just not looking good for Ohio State. Sorry, it wasn't. Then Mississippi State and Alabama. Now you tell me they beat this game. Alabama beats 6-17. I tell you, it's Tennessee. But Jalen Monroe had about 994 passing yards. Great. Bond had 76 receiving yards. Their offense looked phenomenal. I mean, Jalen Monroe, he looked better in this game. That defense was pretty solid. They managed to, the defense was great in the game. One thing I do know in the game, especially in the face of Texas, and actually coming out week 2, Monroe was rushing it. 748. I just don't know where was the running back situation rotating. I don't know what was happening in terms of running back from Alabama, but that rushing game did not look great in that game. They got to figure that out if they want to beat Texas. So that's that. They do play them Texas in week 2. Nevada and UC beats 66-14. Another good game. Another good game later today. It's a night game. Penn State, Drew Law beats West Virginia 38-15. Keep in mind, Drew Law had 2 for 325 passing yards. I'm gonna tell you something about this game. Boy, the Penn State look amazing. Drew Law looked better than Sean Clifford. He's an upgrade. He's definitely an upgrade at quarterback. He can do things that Sean Clifford can do. He's going to take Penn State to places. This is a playoff caliber team. This is a team that can easily win the Big Ten East. He's going to take Penn State to a distance. I mean, he could do things that Clifford couldn't do when he was at Penn State. Drew Law looked phenomenal in this game for Penn State, and I was sitting there watching the game like, yeah, that's the Penn State now. And Drew Law, hands off to you. Michael Penix Jr. and the Boston beats Boise State 56-19. No plan there. Any good games? Got Texas against Rice, UV against Tennessee. The big game on Saturday, Colorado and TCU, primetime game, a noon kickoff. Big noon kickoff was there. Joe Platt, Gus Johnson, and Carl. I was watching the game while watching the Michigan game. The 2 games at the same time. Boy. Colorado. If you haven't seen Deion Prime's press conference game after this game, go watch it. It was amazing to watch. Colorado, first of all, they won the game. They beat TCU 45-42, a 3-point win. Colorado looked good this game. This was all Colorado. And look, TCU lost, Max Duggan, the running back, the wide receiver. It was great. TCU, 42 points. They were okay. TCU was great. Managed to score 42 points. But this made it the best point. Colorado. The highlight of the game was Showtime. He had 510 passing yards. Okay? Then we had about 235 receiving yards for a touchdown. And then the big story is him, Travis Hunter. He played both. He had 100 snaps. He played both positions, both ways. Wide receiver, corner, a couple touchdowns as wide receiver, an interception as a corner. Colorado looked like a bad team that game. I'm sorry, Colorado. And this is the most welcome because he what Deion said to do. I still think Colorado can go 3-9 because after the next first 3 games season, they have a tougher schedule. I mean, they've got to face USC. They face Oregon, the really tough games in the Pac-12, really good teams in the Pac-12. So this game was all Colorado. I mean, a little bit was TCU. I'll give TCU credit. When it's due, they were good this game. But Colorado, Showtime was great in that game. He was a good quarterback. I knew that, but he was really good in this game. This was all offensively. Colorado was great. Defensively, they managed to get up. The defense wasn't the best defense. Okay, they get 42 points. Okay, and that defense, the defense could do. But this is the type of team that can score 45 points. I'm just like Colorado, yeah. So That was highlight. Second highlight of the game, big game that day, a bunch of other games that week. No kidding, South Carolina on ABC primetime game. Spencer Rattler against Drake May. Spencer Rattler had 353 passing yards. UNC beat South Carolina 31-17. I was watching this game. This was a good game to watch. I was really fascinated just to watch this team, to see who's better. Carolina's. Both teams nobody looked the better team. That offense looked really good for North Carolina. No brain there. The defense looked a little better in this game. South Carolina, for some reason, offensively, offensively okay. Melo was good, and they looked pretty good offensively, but the defense, I don't know. Where was defense? It was just either there or not there. I just don't know. That game was just not. But it was a fun game to watch. And that kind of wraps up that day. There's no really other good games. I mean, Baylor lost to Texas State 42-31, close game. Shout out to Baylor losing that game. Close game between Illinois and Toledo. Texas Tech lost in double overtime to Wyoming 35-33. Oh my god, that's crazy. But that wraps up. One more game to talk about. UCLA against Coastal Carolina. That was a good game to watch too. 27-13, big win for UCLA. Then we move on to Sunday and Monday. I'm gonna start with Sunday. You had the first game at noon. Rutgers beat Northwestern 24-7. Rutgers was a better team. Hats off to Garciano. Oregon State against San Jose State 42-17 win. DJ Ukulele had 239 passes for Oregon State. Big hats up to Oregon State. In the game on Sunday that everybody was talking about, Florida State and LSU. This is a close game last year. It was getting a lot of hype. It was supposed to get an off season, and it did. It did get the hype. It did need to do an off season, and was this a good game? Florida State, first of all, blew out LSU 45-24. Jaden Dillard for LSU had about 347 passing yards and 64 rushing yards. Just about LSU. Offensively was okay in this game. Jaden just basically needs to play. That offense was, pretty solid in the first half and second half. That defense, I just don't know why that defense was. And Harold Perkins, best player on LSU defense, was a couple plays later. He was in the midfield and somewhere in just open spots and just staying there, do nothing, and basically no impact in the game. LSU. Look, I give credit to the two. Brad Kelly's a good coach. There was some coaching errors in this game. Not coaching errors, but a lot of coaching. I'm talking about coaching decisions made. They went twice on 4th down in the red zone. So if LSU had done that, they would have for at least half. Two, they could have won the game because of the field goal. They could have kicked. They had to go for it on both 4th one in the red zone, and did not turnovers or downs. It was. There's some messages about Brian Kelly. I just didn't know what was going on in that game, but that was a good game to watch. Florida State beats LSU 45-24. Then that game on Monday, that everybody's biggest upset, Duke beats Clemson 28-7. Oh my God, beats Clemson by 3 touchdowns. Clay Kubnik had about 209 yards passing, and then the road trip running back for Clemson had about 114 rushing yards. First off, this game was our Duke. Duke looked like a better team. I'm sorry Duke. Offensively, Hassel, let's go. Duke. Offensively, that quarterback, I think Ryan Lee Leonard, I think his name is. He was good at the game. That offense was great for Duke. They looked a better team in this game. Defensively, they struggled a bit. Okay, even offensively too. There's so many turnovers, which is a little surprising. That despite all the turnovers they had, they managed to win the game. So that's that. They look at Clemson. Offensively, you could not name a wide receiver. They did not have that Hunter Ref for all the rest of they have. Okay, and Clay Klubnik it's not your Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, all right, type of quarterback. Okay, this was horrible, not only by defense and my offense. I'm gonna some offense too in this game. That was just horrendous game by the defense and offense of Clemson. I mean, Clemson did not look great in this game. I mean, they just look. They might go 9-3. Oh wait, look, they got look, FSU is a really good team, and look at the bad team, really good team. They might lose FSU. They gotta do something if they want to beat FSU, Notre Dame, and South Carolina. Two teams that got faced. And I'll say that's how they wrap up the season. But Clemson gotta do something. Whether it's a playbook, especially Clemson philosophy over there. Now I give Dabo Swinney credit though. He hired a great rally from TCU, get rid of bad leader, and that's a great hire. Obviously that didn't translate on this game. I'm sure that's something that Clip's gotta fix for the next few games. They gotta. It was that's a game. That's probably the best game of the week. So overall this weekend, from Florida State, LSU on Sunday, Monday night at Clemson, Duke, Colorado, and TCU on Saturday. North Carolina, South Carolina, West Virginia, Penn State, Florida, and Utah on Thursday, and obviously the two new teams, the Louisville and Georgia Tech on Friday. You had great games. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 5 straight days of great college football. Really good games. It was a phenomenal day in college football. So there you have it. That's my week 1 recap. I know it's long video, but a lot to talk about, especially the Clemson game. And Florida State LSU game. But it was overall a good game to watch. And so, if you'd like, subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you. Sports Like 101. I'll see you next video. Peace.